Hi guys, welcome to Code Decode. In this video, we will be learning a lot about prompt engineering for the developers like us. We will start with very simple thing, what is prompt engineering, how to make our prompts better to get the better result. The second very important thing is the prompt engineering same for different LLMs? Example, if you learned a very good prompt engineering stuff, is your prompt engineering learning will help you generate the same result for different LLMs like GPT and Claude and Gemini? Will that be a true case or it will be different for different LLMs? And third very important thing, we will see in reality how a same prompt behaves differently in GPT and differently in Claude with different models obviously. And at the end we will end with one liners which will tell you what helps you and what does not help you during the prompt engineering. So let's quickly get started. You might feel starting with some theory, but in between we will play with the prompts with Claude and ChatGPT. So let's get started very quickly onto the theory part. What is prompt engineering? I'll give you a very simple example. Prompt engineering is just a clear and smart input for your AI. Now suppose I give you suppose you are a Java developer. I give you a very vague requirement that create a chatbot. You don't know many stuff. You don't know how the layout should be. You don't know how the performance should be. You don't know how many people will hit it and what should be the performance. You don't know many perspective about it. Your output quality will be very bad. It will be according to you rather than according to how your client wants it. Similarly goes with prompt engineering also. Your AI is the one who is going to develop and work for you like a junior developer. You have to be very clear on what you ask for and that is what you get for. So many a times in one liners which I'm going to cover at the end is when you tell them don't do that, they will not do that, which will help you end up in a very good situation where your prompts having more negations will end up having the output which is more towards your requirement and less towards the things that you don't want to see in your response. I'll give you an example also at the end for this. So your output depends upon the prompt quality. The clear input you give, the better output you get. The vague input you give, the output becomes confusing. And it might be according to the AI, which he thinks it is right, but it might not be according to you. So whatever is in your head, understand and do the context engineering. So prompt engineering is now more towards the context engineering. That is, if it is too difficult to understand, just listen to this. Prompt engineering is actually the way to tell AI what you exactly want. If you don't tell the proper requirement, how do you expect the AI to give you the proper result? And then you will say AI is not giving me the proper result. How will it will replace us? So also one second important, very important thing. Most of us thinks prompt engineering is just asking better question, which is also very wrong. Prompt engineering is more towards the context engineering. That is designing the input like a code. Because at the end, AI is a machine. And what machine understand? It understands the code. So what you have to do is four important things I'm going to tell you in the upcoming video. Those four things will help you behave really good in the prompt engineering for AI, so that AI behaves predictably for your systems. I'll give you an analogy. Prompt engineering is similar to what method you give an input, you get an output. If your parameters are not clear, how the result will become clear. Same with AI. If you say write a Java code, the better way to say that is using the framework, using which database, what is your requirement, you need a CRUD operation, and you should include DTOs and exception handling in the response as a structure. Now AI actually understands what kind of Java code you want, because if it can write Java code in plain Java also, and you were expecting Spring Boot, how would AI know about it? So you have to be very precise in the prompt, and that does not mean a very long prompt. Because when one liners we are going to cover, I'll tell you that sometimes when you give a very big prompt explaining everything, there might be the case that based on your models of your LLM, it will reject or hide some information. And that is where you have a data loss. And many a times what you don't want also comes in an output. So I do not mean that write a big or lengthy prompt. What I meant is give a proper context so that you get a proper response. Hey guys, so recently we have launched a very new course on Udemy, that is Spring Security 7. So now we have total of 2 courses, one on the Spring Security, second on the full stack application with all the deployment, pipelines, CI/CD, AWS Cloud, Kubernetes, everything. In Spring Security, we have covered authentication, authorization, filter chains, CRAN types, JWTs, OIDCs, SSO, CSRF, CORS, and very important, we have created here also a full stack project with a front end, back end, and security is implemented using Auth0 and Keycloak. Both of those authorization servers we have defined and created an end-to-end POC in this course. And the next course was on a full stack application where you understand microservices, Angular, JUnits, Docker, Kubernetes, AWS, EKS, RDS, Mongo Atlas, Jenkins, CI/CD, Argo CD, everything. So this makes a complete end-to-end project with front-end, back-end, and security implemented, deployed on the cloud also. Links of both of these courses will be given in the description below. Also, we will try to give some free coupons. Just let us know in the comment section for which course you would need the coupons. We will try to avail the coupons for the courses for free in the next month. Just for a small request, please leave your genuine, honest comments on these courses. That will help us create more such free courses or discounted courses for you guys. Why it matters for us? Why is prompt engineering so much of hype? Because the faster boilerplate code generation is done by AI. If you tell them if DTOs has to be created, REST APIs have to be created, Docker files has to be created, you tell them and they will create everything. You will not have to create those files automatically or manually. It will be done by AI for you. Also, if you give them an example, like this is a Spring Boot API, it is returning me 500 intermittently. Please find the possible causes. So it will analyze the whole code and tell you that this is an IO call which is going, and IO call might have been failing or have been intermittently giving 500. Because of it, your API, since it is not doing a proper exception handling, it is also giving you 500 kind of stuff. It will help you in debugging. Also, you will be able to understand the large code base. So suppose you are going to replace somebody. Now there's a big project. You can give that whole code files to the LLM and it will tell you the whole architecture, the flow, how the security is set up and all those stuff. You can do the interactive session with the LLMs and they will tell you how this project works internally. So rather than having a proper KTs with the people who also might not know everything in the project, you can ask the AI on a proper code base, structure, LLMs, everything will be told to you by LLM. You can generate tests and documentation, and that is why good prompting is important. Now let's begin very quickly. What is the best technique for prompt engineering? And this is where the practical implementation starts. Leave the theory even if you don't understand it, but this is very, very important. Now, the first technique that you have to remember during the prompt engineering is be specific. Don't just write Java function. Give me Java function. You have to tell them what it needs to do, what it takes as an input, and what it expects as an output, and also include the Java doc comments. Then what AI will know is what is the purpose, what he wants to do, what it has to return, what is the validation style, and what documentation is required. A second more important thing, and which I always tell you to do, provide context before asking any question. Include the framework, include database, include environment, error handling, and constraints. And this is very important. Constraints is very important. I'm going to talk about constraints in a minute. Now, if there is a code which is not working or as a compilation error, it's not good to ask to fix this code. Rather, you would have rather asked that this is a Spring Boot 3.2 controller which is returning this error. This is the database. Please analyze and suggest the fix. So this is how you have constrained it to think only in the Spring Boot direction. You have constrained it to think only from the PostgreSQL perspective and think to only analyze and suggest the fixes. Also, you have to tell how you want the output to be, because many a times, if I'll show you in some time, the prompts can be very big, lengthy, which will take a lot of time. So you can ask them, rather than explaining the dependency injection, you can ask them to keep the expression in the 5 sentences and use one of the simple example. Now AI knows which framework to use, what example styling it should use, and what should be the size limit. Now, fifth, and this is an advanced topic, you might even skip it, but 90% time I have seen a better results with these techniques. It's better to give a chain of thought. What does that mean? That you analyze this Java performance step by step. You first find the bottleneck, suggest the profiling approaches, and recommend now after finding the bottlenecks, you recommend the optimizations. Why it is powerful? Because without giving him the way how he should think, it might randomly generate the solutions and you will never understand why the solution was suggested for your code. You first need to know why was this problem, then what are the different approaches and what is the best optimization that AI thinks. So this is why a systematic reasoning will help you in understanding the issue rather than just directly jumping up to the solution. So if you tell them or instruct your AI as a junior developer to do this, then this, and then tell you this, it is the best way to do it. And remember, this is very important, chain of thought. The second very important thing that I always feel a very big difference with is whenever you add this line, you are a senior Java architect. This completely change your answers structure. So it will tell you review the Spring Boot for solid violations, security issues, and performance bottleneck. Now, AI will do a deep thinking. It will tone itself. It will do a deep analysis. It will do the research. It will think in architectural way and do the analysis kind of style thinking and will give you a best possible prompt. So this prompt or this one line is going to change the complete output of your structured answer. Third, very important, again, very important for me also. I always find that when I ask them to limit the words, don't give me a whole paragraph, you rather format it in bullet points or a table. It makes me understand, visualize the answers much better. For example, explain array list versus linked list. Now it can give you a whole paragraph. You will keep on reading and you will sleep in between. Rather, if it gives you a comparison table, it is more interactive. It gives you maximum in 100 words and with one code example. This prevents the boredom in reading the answer, understanding the prompts, response. It prevents the overly long responses and irrelevant content also. It gives you only tip top what you need just before your interviews. Also, it's better to have, now this is very deep, if you understand, great, but have the iterative refinement. This is something which I always do. Suppose I want that this particular problem should be solved using the streams. Then what I do is fix this issue with using the Java streams. Then you tell them that now you have to filter the output and map it to its exponential of 2. Now convert this loop to stream, and then at the end, after all this has been done by it, I ask them to optimize your own answer. So now at the end, what you get is what was a vague example given by AI was automatically optimized by AI itself. So at the end, what I get is a very optimized stream solution for my problem. So the iterative flow works very well, and this is how you fine tune your answers with AI. Very important last technique, use what you don't want. For example, many a times when I get the code out of the GPT or Claude, I see the methods are striked off. That means they are deprecated. So I always ask them in the prompt, do not use deprecated method, do not hallucinate, do not create the APIs by your own, use whatever is existing in the system. Also, don't use the raw SQL, and also please include the commented code. So you explicitly tell them what not to do, and you explicitly tell them, please add the comments to my code for the description to let me understand how it works. So adding what not to do and what to do is the best thing to do. Also at the last, give them the situation and ask them for multiple examples. For example, for each approach, give pros, cons, and which do you think is the best in this scenario. This helps you compare solutions quickly. I'll give you quick few examples like code generation. You wanted to create a builder pattern class for user entity using Java 21. For debugging, you can write this prompt in a very good way like this. This code is throwing a null pointer exceptions intermittently. This is a Spring Boot code. It is a multi-threaded environment with a huge load. It is very high load. NFRs are very high. Analyze this step by step and tell me why null pointer is coming. So now it will give you bottlenecks. It will give you solutions. It has to think in the multi-threaded concurrent environment. All those stuff it gets as an input, and then its analysis will be very better. Third, very important thing that I use in real time is PR reviews, because nowadays everybody is using Claude and GPT. Now everybody is creating a lot of code, and because of which all the stories are even completing before the sprint ends, which is why we have lot of PR reviews in pending state. Now, how do you prompt? How do you give a prompt that this is the PR, connect to this Jira, connect to this branch, and how will you give the best prompt. You say that review this code like a senior reviewer. Even if you are 2 3 years experience, that's okay, but you give this prompt line and it will change the complete response of your LLM. Review this code like a senior reviewer. Check for code smells, bugs, performance issues, and improvements. Now let's come to the common mistakes that you should avoid. Do not be too vague. Don't ask, make this code better. You could rather ask very explicitly that there is a performance improvement needed and I need the DB calls to be reduced for removing the bottlenecks. If you don't give the context, you don't tell them the framework version or architecture, it will think in all possible directions. So it's like putting the ears of blinders of left and right side blinders of your horse eye. It will not look left and right, it will just look at the road and it will, your horse will run in a perfect directions. So without context, it's like no side blinders for your horse, it will go in any direction. Do not expect perfect output at the first spate. It is always through iteration. You get an output, you see, no, this is not right, I want this more. Then it will give you a better response and it keeps on refining. So until you get the proper response, do the best iterations possible with the good prompts, obviously. Last and most important thing, AI hallucinates. If you have a lot of context that you have given for Spring Boot, and now this happened with me, I'll tell you one example. My context is very specific to Java, Spring Boot, Docker, Kubernetes, backend, DevOps. Now, when I asked I want to create a website, it told me that you can do it with Angular and Java because the context is filled with Java and Angular for me, because that's my tech stack. And since so many years I've been using those to create my context. Now, when I opened the ChatGPT in incognito mode and did not log in with the same ID, did something with a different ID where there was no context already. Now I asked for this kind of website, what is the best framework? It said Next.js is the best for you. So it hallucinated me with Angular and Spring Boot just because I was very comfortable with it, and the context also is more towards that. And it did not even suggest me the Next.js, what it suggested in incognito mode with a different. So AI hallucinates. Do not trust the AI blindly. It is just like your junior developer who is just out from the freshers, and it will confidently make the mistakes for you. Now, important and golden takeaways. Usually, clarity is much better than shorter prompts. Shorter prompts might not give the proper context and constraint to prevent the wrong responses. Second, very important thing, context is the key. Always mention everything, and this is the most important thing. Constrain it so that your response is not that big enough that that you are bored with it, or you are not even able to complete the whole analysis of the response. Iterate frequently, that is, keep on improving the response that you get from AI. Never trust AI blindly, which is very important, and ask the structured answer, that give it in a table way or in a bullet format so that it is better for you to answer. Now, just before coming to a conclusion or summary, very important thing. Best prompt structure is you give you the role that I am a senior Java developer. Task, tell me about Kafka. Context, I am a Java backend developer. I want to think from the architectural perspective. Constraint, complete the whole answer in 200 or 300 words. Try to make it more interactive. Try to make it less bored. Make it more bullet pointed. And output format should be more in the tabular or bulleted form. Then the structure of your answer varies a whole different way. I'll give you an example when we will do the prompt engineering. Now I'll give you an example. You are a senior Spring Boot architect. You need to create an authentication system. This is the tech stack that you need to use. Avoid deprecated APIs, create a production ready code, and output should be a complete code with proper comments and proper folder structure. This structure give you excellent result for creating the proper CRUDs and the APIs in the backends. So final understanding, future developers will likely code with AI, debug with AI, do PR reviews with AI, generate tests with AI, and even design the architecture with AI. So if you are the one who knows how to do the good prompt structure, how to ask the good questions, how to guide the AI, the productivity is that the best. Now, a very important part. That's how you write the good prompt. You understand the prompt engineering. You get the best out of it. The very important question. is prompt engineering same for different LLMs like GPT and Claude? Answer is no. You are wrong here. Prompt engineering is not exactly the same for LLM because all the LLMs behave differently because they are trained differently. They are optimized differently. They have different strength. They follow instructions differently and they use the different alignment systems or safety things. So for example, your SQL idea to select star from user is same, but your query for MySQL is not same as PostgreSQL, is not same as Oracle. Concept is similar. The structure of your query differs for both of them. So your LLMs are similar, but the prompt engineering for all of them are different. Now you would ask me, I made you learn everything about prompt engineering, a lot about prompt engineering. Now some of you would use GPT, some of you would use Claude. What should remain the same across LLMs and what should change based on the specific LLM you are using? I'm going to cover that quickly here. So what remains the same across all LLMs? You should be clear. Your prompt should always be clearer. Don't say write API. Create a Spring Boot API for CRUD user. Always work with all the LLMs. Always give context. All LLMs across the entire AI workspace needs a proper context. The framework, database, constraint, goals, output, structure, everything is going to be the same. So this is what we have even studied in the previous part of the video. Structured prompts. This is also going to remain the same. So trust me, whatever I have told you is true for all the prompts engineering for all the LLMs out there in the market. So most LLMs responds better to this kind of structure that you decide the role, you define the task, you define the context, you define the constraint, and you define the output format. Example, I am a senior technical Java architect. I need you to review this PR. This PR is for Spring Boot 3.2 in this database with this a context, complete context given. Constraint. Find out all the code smells, code improvements, and performance improvements. Output the format in the proper bullet points tabular format rather than big paragraph. If you give this prompt, the output will be terribly different and nice. Now, how LLM behave differently? Because each company, for example, GPT is trained by OpenAI, while the Claude models or Claude LLMs are trained by Anthropic. So for short, since the two parent companies are different, these two models are going to behave different because their data set is different, their tunings are different, their learnings, reinforcement learning is different. A lot of things has been different. A lot of things that you might see is very specific to AI and research. You do not need to go into AI research stuff. You need to use these LLMs to work efficiently in your day-to-day life. So if anybody is trying to make you a good data engineer or AI engineer, don't go to that path, because then there will be an ocean of knowledge for you there, which will not help you. You don't need to create LLMs in that much big amount or that much big scale like how Anthropic has done. You might just create a small agents, which I'm going to tell you in further videos. Your scope is very limited. It is not that big that you have to become a researcher in the AI agents and all those things. So be very, very specific what you really want to learn and how to use it in your real life. Now I'll tell you major difference between your LLMs. Your now this is a very common question. Even you can see into my videos comments. The last video has one of this comment like this. What is how is this different for GPT and Claude? This is a very, very basic difference. ChatGPT is created for more generic kind of queries and responses, while Claude is extremely code specific. For example, I'll give you a very good example, okay? I just wanted to create a workflow engine. Now, ChatGPT gave me 5 classes, that's it, for creation of whole workflow. What Claude gave me? It not just gave those 5 important classes, but also gave me exception handling, also gave me Saga design patterns for event handling, for compensation events, transactions, and all. Very, very specific to microservice, and all those stuff was also given. So it is extremely deep researched code specific instruction following LLM. So if you want to write a very, very deep intensive code, go for Claude. Otherwise, if you want a very simple, create a stream, simple Java stream for fetching the users whose ID is greater than 5, go for ChatGPT. So it's usually very balanced one. Gemini is more conversational and Copilot is more towards code completion. So Copilots usually sits into your repository and looks the whole code and helps you in code completions. Also, some models remember long PDF, huge databases, while the other models ignore most of them. If you give a 5 MB file, it will just read first 10 pages, leave rest of them. So that, yeah, I have seen that also. Claude actually read the whole PDF like a pro, while the smaller free GPT model just look at 4 5 pages and gave me the response. So that is also very important, how context window size matters for different LLMs, and that is where it is very different. You, even though you gave the same PDF, same prompt, few of them ignore most of the information because firstly they are free, they will not give you that much leverage, they don't consume your tokens, while my Claude was a pro version with 2000 rupees per few month or so. So that kind of stuff is always there. You pay more, you get more kind of stuff. Also, there is a very high difference in coding strength. Your GPT is very balanced, while your Claude is long, very strengthful, very deep analyzing structured model. Gemini is Google ecosystem integration. GitHub Copilot is towards code completion. DeepSeek is the best, cheapest, strongest coding helper for you. But I will not suggest you to use that. And Cursor AI models are IDE workflows. Also, very important thing, I told you about the hallucination problem of GPT. This is something that I've always seen with the GPT when I'm using. With the proper constraints and everything proper, good prompt also, it hallucinates. So, in final summary, what remains the same is what I have discussed. The clarity, context, examples, constraint, step-by-step thinking, those 5 things: role, task, context, constraint, output, format. This remains the magical prompt across all LLMs for the Java developers like us. But what changes is the instruction, how it is following, the reasoning style, the coding quality, hallucinations, which is a problem of ChatGPT, the coding quality, which is also very low in GPT as compared to the Claude because it is developed for that specifically, the response format, the behavior, and the context handling. So, one liner prompt engineering principles are universal, but every LLM has its own personality and behavior and might behave differently. Now, before this quick one liner trips for developers, let me quickly go and tell you in reality how GPT prompt is different from Claude. I'll give you a good styled. Okay, before that, let me give you a very vague example of a bad prompting. I would say explain Kafka. Okay, very bad prompt. Let's see how it answers. So when I asked this GPT to explain Kafka, it told me it is a distributed system. In simple term, it is high messaging system. It has key concepts like this. It makes it powerful. It's common use cases and common example. That is it. This is very, very vague answer because you have given a very vague prompt. Now let me explain you a better prompt. Say, I'm a senior Java architect with 12 years experience. Please explain Kafka to me like a pro architect. Keep it architecturally sound with all important terminologies explained. Keep it short, not a boring and paragraph style, and make it more bullet heading style with tables and interesting. So you have defined a role that I'm a senior Java developer with architectural knowledge. You have a task that you have to explain Kafka. You have a context that it has to be architecturally sound with all terminologies explained for Kafka's specific thing. You have constrained it to keep it short, technical, and not boring, and you have to format it in bullet and heading styles. Now let's see how it answers and how this prompt changes the response completely. So Kafka and architectural level understanding. It is a default in one liner. It is defaulted to distributed, fault tolerant, append only, event streaming platform. Do you see the answer structure or the technological terms that has been used? Compare this with this. It is a distributed system for real-time data handling, high-speed messaging system. Now, do you see a distributed, fault-tolerant, append-only event system platform? Not just a messaging queue. Then it says core architectural purpose, scalability, fault tolerance, event architecture. Then mental model, most important, that producer partitioning topics. Do you see a partition here? I do not see a partition being described here at all. So when you give a vague prompt, you do not get this much in-depth analyzed answer as compared to when I have given a better prompt like this. Now, main components, a proper tabular structure, a proper heading structured, a proper bullet structured. So this is how replication architecture is also there. What is leader, what is a follower, what is in sync replica? Do you see in sync replica here? I do not see much of those stuff here, right? Consumer group architecture, what is consumer group, what is a scale, what is offset management, what is delivery system, exact once, at least once. So can you see how beautifully it is explaining like a architecture and making us think like an architect? So this is how beautifully your prompt matters a lot. So final architect summary, it is a distributed immutable event log system, not merely a queuing hardware. This is how this thing's different. Now let me show you how this is different from the same prompt engineering that I've told you and explained you and made you learn how to write a good prompt differs in Claude with the GPT model. The same prompt I have given here. Let's see how it works now in Claude. If you see, it is going to think a lot more than your GPT models. It is Sonnet for us. So this is the model, the LLM model. So if you see here, this is how the same prompt is going to give you a good architectural knowledge with Claude. So if you see here, there are multiple producers. They are trying to add the same time to the different brokers. There is a zookeeper, there is a consumer, and this is how beautifully Claude explains the coding stuff. Now, what is Kafka? Core concepts, ordering guarantees, consumer group mechanism, retention model, zookeeper. Does this added zookeeper much? I do not see much of this beautifully how this Claude has explained the zookeeper for us. So this is how beautifully the performance levers also is given by Claude. So Claude thinks more from the coding perspective and your configuration perspective. So it says this should be the lever, this should be the partition count, this should be the fetch min made. So these are configurations that is going to help you the performance tuning. I didn't even think from the coding perspective on the performance tuning, but still it has the answer has those performance improvements, which Claude does not, which GPT does not have. GPT is more generic. Claude is more coding specific, more research specific, more thinking specific, more for the Java backend developers like us. But sometimes it will overwhelm you. You might not need all this stuff at the first day when you're trying to understand the Kafka. But since you have given a prompt like I'm a senior Java architect with 12 years experience, it has overwhelmed you with thousands of stuff that you might even not know about Kafka. Like for example, Evro, Prodbuf, JSON schemas, registries, KSQLDB, a lot of those things which is very specific to an architectural level information is what is given by Claude to you. The same prompt I have given that I am an architect with 12 years experience. Then what kind of stuff that it has given is very different from the Claude one. So this is how the same prompt differs very differently for the Anthropic enabled models and the OpenAI specific models. OpenAI is more generic, while Claude and Anthropic is more developer specific models trained. So this is one of the answer for one of the comments I have got in the previous video, that how and they all behave same. No, they do not behave same. It is your prompt, it is your question which make them think in that direction. If you explain Kafka, obviously most of them will behave same, because you are a vague, unknowledgeable person trying to prompt and just use the GPTs and the Claude just like a Google. You ask Google what is Kafka, that is okay. But your LLMs are not your Google search engines. They are very specific, intelligent models trained in very good stuff and good environments. Use them like the junior developer. Do not use them like a Google. Okay, that is it. I'm going to conclude this video with few quick one-liners. First, all prompt engineers, remember this, that prompt engineering is very common. It runs on those 5 things that I have told you, and most of the time prompt engineering for the developers are very good in that situation. What were they? Role, task, context, constraint, and output format. One quick liners and tips and tricks for you. LLMs care more for the recent instruction for older ones. If you have given the context 3-4 days back, it will might be not considering it rather than the recent one that you have given 10-15 minutes back. Act as a senior Java developer is going to change a lot in your reasoning stuff. Production gate system, when you write that in your prompt, these words will change the quality of your code very differently. AI, some models, the free models silently ignore the long prompts without even telling you, and your response might be very vague. And there's a lot of stuff, you can just go through the slide. I do not have much time to cover these theory. What my focus was to tell you how the LLMs work differently with the different prompts, and the same prompts how different LLM answers you differently. If you want more such videos on the AI stuff, how you use them as a backend developer in your day-to-day life, you need to comment in the section, then only I'll continue with this AI series for you.